Pat Burrow. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome into an extra inning post-game show as we enter the month of September. Today, of course, is Labor Day. Hopefully you all are enjoying a beautiful day here in Northern California as the San Francisco Giants go into Colorado and continue their winning streak, as now they won 8-2, equaling their record to 69-69, a 500 record. First time they've been 500 since August 10th. And they've been playing outstanding baseball. Of course, the offense is just on fire today. 3 home runs, a solo home run by Rafael Devers, his 29th, a 2-run home run by Drew Gilbert, his 2nd on the season, and Willy Adames hit a 2-run home run for his 26th of the season, and he's close to hitting that 30 number as we are looking to see if he can get 30 home runs all the way back when Barry Bonds hit that a few years ago, many years ago, I should say. But the Giants played well today, and it all started with the offense with Rafael Devers hitting that solo home run in the first inning, and then it went on to the defensive side and the pitching side, where Kai-Wei Tang got a start today, and he ended up getting a nice win. He battled through many of the innings, but he pitched 5 1/3 innings, giving up 9 hits, only 2 earned runs. Joe Pagera ended up going an inning and 2/3. Keaton Winn going 2 innings. And the Giants shine, and they get to be a 500 record. Kai-Wei Tang, just a good outing all around. As I say, 85 pitches, 60 of them for strikes, 17 first pitch strikes for 24 hitters, and I thought that was a real key for him today. As when you break down the 85 pitches, 24 fastballs, about 93, 94 miles an hour on the average. The sweeper, though, was the big pitch, really moving from east to west on some of those movements. He threw 36 of those at around 86 to 84 miles an hour, mixed in a couple curveballs and some sinkers, but overall did very well. And you can start looking at what he did. The first inning had a nice 1-2-3 inning, 7 pitches. The second inning had 2 on with 1 out, ended up punching out Karros and Fernandez to end the inning. In the third inning, got in a jam again with 2 on, with 1 out, and ended up striking out Goodman, and Beck. And he's punched out 2 more. In the fourth inning, he comes on with 2 on and 2 out, and he strikes out Arcia. And Arcia ends up ending the inning there. It continued, though. The fifth inning really pitched well in the fifth inning. Gives up a base hit to Freeman, but he got a 4-6-3 double play and then punched out Goodman for 5 solid innings. And at that time, he had 74 pitches. Went out there for the 6th inning, pushed himself a little bit, got a fly ball by Beck, a base hit, and a double by Tovar, and Bob Melvin went to the bullpen. And the bullpen with Pagera and Wynn ended up only giving up 2 runs. Both of them were to Tang. So the Giants come to a road trip that I really feel is important, a road trip where they can hopefully mount an attack before they come home to play Arizona and the Dodgers. And, of course, they're going to play Arizona 6 times and the Dodgers 7 times in the middle of the month. But this little 6-game road trip, 3 to Colorado with a day off Thursday, and then 3 to St. Louis, is a good feeling of what the Giants can do. And if they can continue to go game to game and win each game and putting pressure on the teams ahead of them, which the Cincinnati Reds and the New York Mets both won today, so the Giants still are 5 games behind in the wild card. There's hope, no question. We always hope. But is the numbers going to come down to what's going to happen against Arizona and the Dodgers? That's where I feel that's where it's going to end up with the Giants. If they can obtain this and continue the fight to get to the playoffs, those 13 games are going to be meaningful, because if you can get through that stretch, then you have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies to end it at home. So good things going on. As I said, 3 home runs today. The Giants have hit 29 home runs in 15 straight games, tied a record since 2001. And they are hitting the ball well. Willy Adames ended up the month of August with 9 home runs. Rafael Devers did the same thing in August, hitting 9 home runs. The home run ball is definitely a big part of the San Francisco Giants. But a day-to-day, Drew Gilbert, what a day the rookie had today, going 4 for 4, scoring 3 times and getting 2 RBIs. And, of course, the home run off Dolander was an ex-teammate of his at University of Tennessee, so that had to make him feel pretty good. And if you saw the reaction in the dugout after, he was screaming, and he kind of got in front of Matt Chapman with a big old face of mouth wide open, and Chapman kind of gave him a stiff arm, saying, "Settle down, Rook, just calm down." But the excitement is there. There's nothing wrong with having excitement by Drew Gilbert. He's firing up the troops, and they should. They keep a good path going with this winning way. And the San Francisco Giants, as I said, are now 69-69. One issue was Casey Schmidt getting hit in the elbow, in the right elbow. X-rays were negative, and, of course, they're going to go to an MRI and day-to-day from now. But, boy, that was a blow, as that sinker about 96 came in on his arm, and he couldn't get his arm out of the way, and it caught the inner elbow. And if you ever hit your funny bone, you can see where your fingers are shaking and you can't even get feeling in your hand, and that's what Dave Gresner was trying to get. And he went to first base. It was just grimacing, and he ended up coming out, and Koss came in to replace him. But we'll see how he is day to day. But the Giants now move on tomorrow with Logan Webb on the hill against Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland's pitched twice against the San Francisco this year. He's 1-1. Both games pretty much similar, going 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run in each, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Blueprint for both of them, except the Giants beat him the first time, and he won the second one. So we'll find out more. That first pitch is tomorrow at 5:40 right here on KNBR. 415-808 KNBR. Let's get on the phone lines. I've got a great show lined up as the Labor Day show continues. I'll be able to talk to the Associated Press, Steve Croner. He's going to be joining me live about this game, and, of course, the last homestand where the Giants completed a 5-1 homestand. And I sat down with Dave Gresner. Of course, he is the head trainer, just does a great job for the San Francisco Giants. You see him on the field all the time. He takes care of all these players. 30 years he's been with the San Francisco Giants, and he hasn't done an interview for over 15 years. And I sat down and we talked about a lot of things that he has seen in baseball, a lot of the foot traffic, a lot of the things that he had to do, the bumps and grinds of being a trainer through the minor leagues and getting to the big leagues. But it's a nice, easy listening conversation I have with Dave Gresner, and that'll be on later in the show. All right, we'll take our first break. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show on Labor Day. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
2-1. Gilbert swings and launches it high and deep. Right field. It is gone! Stay hot, Drew Gilbert.
All right, back on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on Labor Day. Hopefully you are enjoying a nice afternoon here in San Francisco or Northern California. Giants win today, 8-2, continuing on winning ways. The last 9 games are 8-1. Of course, that homestand was fantastic, where they went 5-1, sweeping the Chicago Cubs and then taking 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, scoring 50 runs in those 6 games. An exciting homestand, and they continued it today by winning 8-2. 69 runs the Giants have scored in those 9 games. And the offense is starting to carry this team. They're getting out early, of course, scoring more. They scored in the first, third, fifth, and seventh, and that's exactly how you got to play winning baseball. And it ends up really well on the road. They're 34-35 now against right-handed pitchers. They're 54-45, and the numbers just keep increasing. 15 straight games the San Francisco Giants have hit a home run. They've hit 29 home runs in those 15 games. Today, of course, it's Labor Day, September 1st. They expanded rosters. The Giants chose J.T. Brubaker and Grant McCray for their 2 players so far until we see what happens as the season or September moves forward. J.T. Brubaker has been in the big leagues 4 years, came over from the New York Yankees. He's 31 years old. He played 3 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And this year he was with the New York Yankees, and the Giants picked him up on a waiver wire. So he's up, a right-hander. Gives him some innings, and also Grant McCray for defensive purposes as well as pinch running. And I think that's a great move that the Giants have done there in getting some more people off the bench. And today, of course, with Schmidt going down, they ended up grabbing Koss, who's done a great job filling in at second base, shortstop, and third base. So the Giants are playing good baseball at the right time of the year. It's just, do they have enough time? 24 games left. 13 of those are against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. But this road trip, I think, is very important if they can continue to keep winning. 2 more in Colorado, 3 against St. Louis. They're 6-2 against Colorado this year. They're playing 2 more in Colorado, and then they finish out the year with 3 games in San Francisco on the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And the season will be over on the 28th. How about that, man? The season's coming quick for the 2025 season, and we'll see if the Giants can pull this wild card off, if they can continue to keep playing winning baseball. And some of the teams ahead of them, the Reds and the Mets, just have to somebody hope, and they get to lose. And that's, I think, all we could do is hope they lose and the Giants continue to stay hot. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Let's go to Gabe in Antioch. Gabe, you're on an Extra Inning Postgame Show on Labor Day. How's your day going?
I'm doing great. Great to hear your voice. I've been a first-time caller for the last season. So,
Gabe, thanks for calling in on Labor Day. Giants are playing good baseball. You got to be happy with that.
Oh, yeah. And I saw Drew Gilbert go 4 for 4. And, he's a scrapper. He reminds me of another scrapper with the same initials, Dan Gladden.
Good one. I like that one. Sure was. And that's exactly how Dan Gladden was, a teammate of mine for many years, and had that long flowing blonde hair flowing. And, boy, he was a scrapper, too. And the way he played center field, a very good outfielder. Of course, now he went over to Minnesota Twins, and he's a color commentator over there. But that's a good call, Gabe. He is exactly like that. And you saw all the excitement that he did. You saw Matt Chapman kind of give him a stiff arm in the dugout saying, calm down, Rook, calm down. It's all right. We're all right.
Right.
But you know what? That's the rookie energy. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, and that's what the Giants need, is a little fire on the bench. Willie Adames, he's like that as well. In the dugout, when other players are, doing well. He's all fired up in the dugout, and it's good to see that passion. And when I was just
with
looking
the other
over
thing too, Gabe, is you're seeing the core players now within the last couple of weeks really putting it together. Rafael Devers, of course, 29 home runs, 14 of those with San Francisco. He hit 9 of those in the month of August. Willie Adames also, 26th home run this year. And these are things that the Giants need from these core guys to move forward the month of September and stay hot.
Yeah, one other thing I was just, reflecting back, or when I Googled back, I know Dan was a major part of that, the Twins when he left the Giants and won 2 World Series there. He hit the Grand Slam, and it's, I don't know if it was his first game or the game 1 of the first World Series, but one thing I was just looking back as well. I said I'd like to get his reflection one time with a great buddy of yours, Vida Blue. Yeah, I'm sure those two they played, I think, 1 season together.
Yeah, one of the biggest things in Minnesota, Chili Davis was a big part of that team too, and of course those were good teammates. Kirby Puckett, those were all the good years when the Twins won that World Series. And you had a great point there, Gabe. Some of the players that moved on to other organizations ended up winning World Series back in the day in the 80s and the 90s. Those were good quality players, and I think those are the ones the Giants missed when we were trying to win, and they moved on. But, one of the things you also said, Gabe, is being a scrapper. What do you think Drew Gilbert's like? What kind of player, when you try to, break him down, what do you like about him?
Well, I like that he's, he stays in the box. He doesn't bail out, and I know that playing right field is new for him. But being a lefty, I'm just wondering, how if he was there always a right fielder, or if he played center field.
Center fielder. Gabe is center fielder. That's where he played most of the time, was center field. You saw him a couple times out when they sat down. Jung-Hoo Lee plays center field. He's got a good quick break. I didn't know he jumped like Dave Fleming was talking about. He jumps before each pitch. I didn't know that. That's kind of like a preset he does. He just takes a little leap and he jumps and keeps his balance moving, and he says that's how he keeps his energy flow going. So it was interesting to hear that. I never saw that before, and then they showed it, and he does it every pitch. One good thing that we both know of him is his arm. He's got a very strong arm. Caught a ball down the line for a double, but he got the ball in quickly to hold a runner at third. A young player, we know that, and it's just the experience that he's going to have to learn from, and I think that's going to be the big thing moving forward. 24 years old, first time really in the big leagues, bounced around, of course, with the Astros and the Mets, and here's a young player that's trying to break through, of course, with Mike Yastrzemski gone, and you got Grant McCray and Drew Gilbert from the left-hand side, and then you got Luis Matos has been swinging the bat pretty well. So we'll find out what they're going to do moving forward, but that was a good little lineup Bob Melvin threw out today, as they ended up getting 11 hits and 8 runs. So a good game with 3 home runs. But, hey, good talking to you today, Gabe. Pleasure for you to call in. It's always a pleasure to listen to you when you call in, but I appreciate it. Let's go to Paul in Sacramento. Paul, you're on the Next Earning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey on Labor Day. Good game by the Giants. They continue to keep winning. What's going on with you today?
Hi, Bill. Longtime listener from Candido days. And Dave Newhouse.
Now you're talking. Wow, you're calling way back when.
Way back, yes.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, I got a little philosophy for you here about Birdsong. I've watched him pitch, and we have a common friend, Fred Brining, that taught my son a little bit about pitching. And the one thing I see about Birdsong that Fred taught a lot about, and actually I followed his principles a little bit, is about pointing your shoulder and extending yourself through that shoulder down. And it just seems like he's underneath the ball a lot, and the times that he thinks he's on top of something, he's throwing it into the ground. So I don't think he
elevates the ball a lot too. He gets the ball up where he gets the wrist under the ball, and that's where that ball stays up. Fred always used that front shoulder to point the direction. Now I'm just the opposite. I like the front shoulder closed a little bit. I'm more or less in the Nolan Ryan days where you close the gate with your hip, your knee, and your shoulder, and it all opens up to the position where you're throwing it, to the outside corner, inside corner. That's kind of how I teach it. Now, Fred was totally different. Fred had a fantastic fork ball, so he used that a lot of times to throw the fastball, but then he used the fork ball as his out pitch. Freddie and I were teammates for many years. I still talk to him here and there. But Fred was a real good instructor for so many years, as you said. Did a lot of instruction for high school and college for many years once he got out of the game.
Yeah. But Bill, I'm glad you're on because
well, I appreciate that, Paul. Have you been watching Birdsong at all, Paul, in Sacramento? Have you got a chance to watch him at all there?
No, we haven't gone out. It's been so hot over here. I mean,
yeah, it's been burning up.
It doesn't take much to get in the middle of 90, even before 11 or 10:30 in the morning. So
yeah, it's tough. Those are tough days. We feel
Oh,
like we're in Phoenix some of those days. You know what I mean? Phoenix, it seems like that. Back in the day when I pitched in Phoenix, it was like 105, 110 when you're warming up and you had to come in before you pitched and change all your clothes because they were soaking wet. Very difficult times when you're pitching in. Yeah, AAA and AA in those hot months, and the humidity, of course, is totally different. But, Paul, thanks for calling in today, and I appreciate your thoughts about Hayden Birdsong because you are right. A lot of times he's under the ball or on top of the ball. I just wish he threw more strikes. I think that's what everybody wants to see out of the organization with Birdsong.
Amen, Bill.
All right. Take care, buddy. Appreciate it. Let's go out to Berkeley and talk to Andrea. Andrea, happy Labor Day to you, my dear.
Yes, happy Labor Day, and the Giants didn't labor all day.
They played well. They're on a roll, and I think that's what we're all looking at, winning 8 out of 9 games. And what about that homestand, Andrea? Really played well, 5-1, 50 runs they scored. That was kind of what we were waiting for since All-Star break, isn't it?
Yes, well put. I mean, timing is everything, and this is great, September 1st, to go to Coors Field and get that very convincing, exciting win. And, by the way, the pitcher, Laytong, December 1, 1998. So fellow Sagittarius.
Kai Tang. Kai Tang. That's the Kai Tang. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he's 26 years old, and I really thought, bringing him up when Carson Whisenhunt went down with a stiff back, I just didn't know what they were going to get out of him. But, boy, he pitched really well for the Giants today. Going into the 6th inning, got out of a couple jams, first and second with 1 out, first and second with 2 outs, and got some strikeouts, 8 strikeouts, no walks. And I thought that was one of the other things, Andre. You can't give up walks in Colorado. Those always haunt you. And today, the Giants did well. Nobody got a walk. Nobody gave up a walk. And, of course, on their side, 4 walks by the Giants. But these are the games that you have to grind through. Andre, you've heard me so many times, the teams that are under 500, and this team's 39-99. The Giants have beaten them 6 out of 8 times. So these next 2 games, they have to grind, especially with Logan Webb and Robbie Ray on the hill, your 2 aces. Try to pull 2 wins off and go into St. Louis with a nice little win streak.
Yes, like you say, don't waste the ace. So looking forward to that. And fellow Virgo Willie Adames, nice to see the home runs and him being happy. I know how critical he can be of himself. September, is that 2nd? I can't read my own handwriting. 1995, so it means his birthday's coming up. And he's 29, having a Saturn return of increased career success. So nice to see that. And how about Drew Gilbert? Wow.
Yeah, I know you're going to hit me with an age one on this one. He's 24, I do believe, so it's got to be young.
September 27, 2000, so his birthday's coming up as well. So
well,
that was
what's
really
good
fun
about
to
this
see.
team, Andrea, is the youth compared to some of the veterans, and the foundation that Buster Posey has put down here with Adamas, Chapman and Devers, and then you can expand it a little bit more with Jung-Hoo Lee and maybe even Elliot Ramos. I'm hoping that Dominic Smith does find a way back into this team in 2026. And then you got to look at the young guys. You're looking at Casey Schmidt, Drew Gilbert, Luis Matos, a lot of young players that are battling. Even Patrick Bailey, he's a young kid still. So the mixture's there. It's just now playing together, and I think what we've seen in the last 9 games from that Milwaukee series, they are playing better, and they're playing better baseball on the field. The defense is shining, and I think that's a big plus for this team.
Yes, so it's timely hitting, good defense, excellent pitching, really just, clicking on all cylinders, really nice to see. And, even I looked at Verlander's chart after you asked me. And, September, so far so good. The end of September, Saturn does kind of go back into Pisces. But let's enjoy this while we can. We'll deal with that when we have to. And, by the way, before I forget, great interviews yesterday with your guests.
Steve
One
Stone
of them
and
mentioned
Rick
Bobby
Dempsey.
Mercer.
Yeah, that was a good little story that he talked about Rick Dempsey, and I really enjoyed talking to him, and I got to meet him maybe once or twice very briefly, but to sit down and talk to him like I did, it just seemed like we were sitting at a bar talking, It was just very casual, and conversation flowed. And I've known Steve Stone for many years. As the beginning of that conversation, both of us went to Kent State University. He was ahead of me when I was there, but I got to know him interlocking during the different seasons in spring training. But I didn't know he had won 25 games with the Orioles until I looked him up, and that was really an eye-opener for me because he ended up winning the AL Cy Young that year.
Wow, yeah, it was just really great.
Yeah.
One of them talked about Bobby Mercer, who I remember from the Yankees. The other one talked
Rick
about
Dempsey,
alternative healing methods. It was just one of the best interviews.
Steve Stone was,
you
you heard that about Steve Stone. He was doing a lot of different things on the mental side, even hypnotizing himself, trying to stay in the zone a little bit more. Those are the fun things that I find out in these interviews because I don't know these. They just come up with conversation. And, Andrea, you've been listening to me for years. And some of the conversations, they just come out and they express what they're thinking and what happened. And that's what makes those conversations so rewarding.
Yes, well, you have this safe, non-judgmental, really upbeat space to just kind of talk and speak your truth, and it's really very wonderful to hear from these people that we ordinarily wouldn't.
And Dave Gresner today, another one. Dave Gresner's been with the Giants for 30 years. He hasn't done an interview in over 15 years, and I caught up with him, and he goes, let's do it. I've been pulling his arm for years, and it's really a nice little flow with Dave also. But, Andrea, thanks. Have a great rest of the Monday. It's always great talking to you. All right, we're going to take a quick break on extra inning post-game shows. I have a few callers on hold. Also, Steve Croner coming up. And just like I said, an interview with Dave Gresner, 30 years as the head trainer of the San Francisco Giants. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the extra inning post-game show. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. sound right, boys. Sound right, boy. It sound right, boy.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
One, Adames swings, hits a high fly ball deep left field. Beck is back at the track. It is gone! Another Willie Adames home run.
Back on the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey as Willie Adames hit his 26th home run. It was a 1-1 curveball. I love the side view from the first base side. The front shoulder opened up, the hand stayed back, and the ball was down, and he just got enough on it as he hit it 383 feet out to left field for his 26th home run. Really a nice at bat. Staying back and driving the ball out to the left field. But, of course, a 2-run home run in that game as Drew Gilbert had a base hit in that 7th inning, a couple punch-outs, and then Willie Adames ended up hitting that, as I said, 1-1 curveball out for a home run. The Giants had scored 2 runs in that 7th inning and opened it up after Colorado had scored 2 in the bottom of the 6th. So a nice bunch, punch back from the Giants in that game and end up winning 8-2. A couple other things going on when you look at what the Giants have been doing this year is the home run ball. We keep bringing it up, and 15 straight games, 15 of them, and they have 29 home runs so far, and that equaled up from 2001. And today, 3 home runs, Devers, Gilbert, and Adames. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Logan Webb on the hill tomorrow. He's 12-9 with a 3.16 earned run average, going against Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland 3-15 with a 5.28 earned run average, and this is the time when the Giants have to mount an attack, and this offense is staying hot. So let's hope they can get Logan Webb some runs. And then, of course, on Wednesday, you have Robbie Ray on the hill. He's 10-6 with a 3.18 earned run average. I'm just looking, his last game I covered where he had a cut or a finger blister on his hand, and let's hope that healed. He's going against Herman Marquez, who's 3-12 with a 6.14 earned run average. These numbers are high, as we know, as the Colorado Rockies right now are 39-99. They got one more loss, and they have 100 losses, one of the worst seasons the Rockies have put out. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Let's go to Morgan Hill and talk to Ken. Ken, you're on the Labor Day show with Bill Laskey. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good, Bill. What I wanted to talk to you about was I was listening to the game the other day, and they were talking about the real downfall of the attendance of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
And probably the reason is that the fans aren't excited because they don't have any, big boppers or, guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Now, this is where the Giants come into this conversation is now they got Devers. He's exciting. Willie Adames, he's hitting home runs like crazy. He's exciting. Bryce Eldridge is coming up, correct? Probably not till next year or maybe a little bit halfway through the season. So whatever you Giants do, please do not trade Bryce Eldridge for, a bunch of,
I don't think they'll do that.
Mediocre,
Ken, I don't think that's even on the table.
Maybe get a pitcher. But
there's other ways to do it, Ken. There's other ways, and I mean, I've heard some of the tales that people have thrown in there about Bryce Eldridge maybe getting a better catcher because of Patrick Bailey's struggles as a hitter. I don't believe Bryce Eldridge is even on the table. Over the All-Star break, Buster Posey did say that they did take some inquiries about Carson Whisenhunt also, and they're the number 1 and 2 prospects the Giants have. So what we've seen out of Bryce Eldridge in AAA is so rewarding, learning how to play first base. One of the things I did hear in a conversation, and I think it was Kerry Crowley that had it going on, when they were saying maybe Bryce Eldridge could go play some outfield. And I thought that was something that was interesting because he came up more of a hitter than really an outfielder or first baseman. That intrigued me a little bit because if he could put some outfield defense together, that might intrigue him to go play some outfield. But right now it looks like they have him centered in as a first baseman for the future. Now, of course, Rafael Devers is playing first base. Dominic Smith's been over there. Of course, Dominic Smith will be a free agent at the end of the year. I hope somehow they hold on to him as a pinch hitter, defensive replacement. He's been fantastic ever since they picked him up from the Yankees. Now, getting to your point, I think these guys, what Buster Posey has put down as a foundation. I've talked about it. Devers, Adames, Chapman, Ramos is even in there, Jung-Hoo Lee. I don't think those guys are going anywhere. I think what they have to do is add on, like what you just said, another starting pitcher, a veteran, a backup catcher, a couple pieces in the outfield maybe, a power-hitting right-hander. Those are all things that could go down the wire, could go into the discussions over the winter.
It was a smart move to get a Devers because not only is, yes, he got off to a slow start, but now he's really heating up and the dude can hit. He can hit with big-time power. So
he's got some whip in that bat, doesn't he? Boy, when he takes a swing, whoo!
Yes, exactly. I mean, he's got bat speed, incredible. He hits the ball, 114 miles an hour for a home run today, correct?
Yeah, and that was the highest he hit. Now, just think about that, Ken, 114.5 miles an hour off his bat. He didn't even leave the box, and it was out of the ballpark already. That's how hard he hit that. That was a bullet.
A rocket shot out of the yard. But what I'm saying is, let's not be mediocre and dull like the Cardinals and see what happened to their attendance. It's really
it really kind of surprises you, don't it? It surprises me the Cardinal Nation isn't behind this team.
Always being one of the top attendance teams for years upon years. But also they were always kind of contenders, but they had the Pujols, they had Goldschmidt, they had they had some power hitters, and then once they
kind of walked away from it. Arenado's still there. Nolan Arenado's still there. He's not having a great year, but I think they tried to combo it with some older players and younger players that just didn't have a mix. And, of course, the Athletics beat them in St. Louis, and they're still in the hunt. But, boy, their pitching is down, their hitting is down. And that's why I feel, Ken, this road trip's so important to go into Colorado, sweep the Rockies, and then go into St. Louis and really have an opportunity to beat them up, too, because the road has to go through these 6 games to try to, get this 5-game wild card down to a couple. If they could get it down to 2 or 3 before they come home, that would be amazing.
Yes. So anyway,
Ken, thanks for the call. Thank you for the call, Ken.
Right.
I appreciate it. And you're absolutely right in some of the things you talked about. So good stuff right there. Let's go down to Orlando, Florida, and talk to Joshua. Joshua, I haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing down there?
Well, I'm doing good. I've been following the team, just listening to some YouTube guys lately. But I came back and listened to you the other day, and I wanted to know what's your 2 cents, because Root really did well when he was healthy, and Hayden dropped off. But at the same time, Hayden was doing well in the first few months. What's your feeling if they make it and sneak into the playoffs without those 2 guys? Can they go further than the first round?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at the top 3, you got to look at Verlander being number 3 now, because 4 and 5 are up in the air, no question. Carson Whisenhunt has now got a hurt back. Kai Tang takes his start, does well. I mean, that's what you kind of want from a AAA guy to come in, especially in Colorado, and go 5 1/3. But you just got to look at really what you have. Landon Roop will not be back this year. Hayden Birdsong is probably still a question mark. He'll start next year fighting to be in this rotation. And then you just got to look at Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, and Justin Verlander as your top 3 starting pitcher. What Justin Verlander did yesterday was just amazing, throwing 121 pitches. He has been pitching great lately. I am admitting this because he has surprised me as the season's gone on. He has surprised me how strong he is. He's surprised me on throwing 95, 96 consistently. And those are the things that I look at from an older pitcher like him, because when you're looking at a 42-year-old still throwing 96 and 97, and I think one game he hit 98, that's impressive. And to throw 121 pitches and still be locked in for his next start in St. Louis, I think those are your top 3 starters, Joshua. But I just don't see anything else from the AAA team that's going to help them, as well as what's going to happen here in the 4th and 5th start.
Yeah, that's a great take. Just like the last caller, Devers and Adames are showing what they can do, and I think 2026 with those 2 guys is a big help coming up next year.
It is. I think that foundation, when he built this and spent the money, I mean, there's a lot of money in this payroll, but we're starting to see, like we always say, look at the back of the baseball card, and this is what the kind of guy you are. Well, it is. It's taken Devers some time, but, everybody that knows him, and I watched him with Boston, the guy can flat out hit. And now he's in the zone. He's feeling comfortable with the team. He even talked about his teammates, and he loves being in this clubhouse. Those are all appealing things to me when you're building a club with a Rafael Devers, an experienced hitter, a 280 lifetime hitter, and, of course, Willie Adames, everybody loves in that locker room. But they always, Joshua, talk about Matt Chapman. They always say Matt Chapman's our leader. He's the captain of the club. And you know what? When you start hearing that and you're hearing veterans talk about that and talk about him, that's the leader I want, because I think Matt Chapman's that kind of person that when he talks, back in the day when Buster Posey was the leader, I think Matt Chapman does the same.
You know what? That was my next thought, was Matt Chapman. And I believe if the Giants sneak into the first round of playoffs, Matt Chapman will be their guy in any wild card.
100%. But Joshua, you take care in Florida. It was great talking to you again, and call in more on the weekends. I'll be doing a lot more weekend shows, so have a good one, my friend. Let's go to John in South City. John, another good win by the Giants. The hitting is contagious as they score 8 runs on 11 hits. What'd you think of today's game?
Bill, I thought Kaiwei Tang pitched pretty well today, Bill.
He sure did.
He was
man.
outstanding.
He did. He got out of
And
jams. Like I said, 2 on, 1 out, 2 on, 1 out, 2 on, 2 outs, punching out guys. They end the inning with that sweeper. That thing was nasty today.
Oh, yeah. Bill, I got a question. Do you know any latest on the injury on Casey Smith's elbow by chance?
All they said after the game, which I'm trying to get reports on, they said the x-rays were negative, meaning no bone structure or anything was broken. I'm sure that elbow is going to be swollen tomorrow. And I'd throw it on, how you hit your funny bone on your elbow sometimes. You hit it on a table or a door, and your finger rattles, and you can't feel your pinky or your ring finger. That's what happens when a ball hits your elbow. And that's why you always see Dave Gresner gripping the hand to see if he can grip them. Give me a grip. Give me a strength in your hand so I know that tendon can, give some power to me. And that's what they try to do. But when I saw him at first base, John, it was like he's grimacing. And that pain must have continued because then they got Koss in there. And they were probably looking at the same thing we were looking at on TV. And he wanted out. They wanted him out. And, of course, they iced it and x-rays on it. And they'll find out what's going to happen on that tendon, how tender it is. It's so strange this year when you see Ramos and Schmidt gets hit so many times. Those guys are like pinball machines. Everybody's throwing darts at them, and they're getting hit too many times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one, Bill. But I thought the offense came up big today against the Rockies, and shout out to Joe Paguro again for having a great outing again.
He's throwing good. 101 miles an hour. Just brings it. Just brings it with that little slider. A little like Randy Rodriguez, similar style. He got behind a couple hitters, when he first got in there, and he ended up giving up that double to Fernandez on a ball that was up a little bit. But he ended up managing getting that double play in that 7th inning, and I thought that was a key double play for him, where that ball went to Smith at first, who threw it at Adames, and then Adames threw it back to first. That was a key double play. The Giants had 3 double plays today, and that's when you got good ground ball guys. Keaton Wynn got one, and also Kai Wei Tang got one. So it was good baseball today.
You're absolutely right, Bill. And as we get ready for tomorrow to face another lefty, they must beat another lefty tomorrow again against Freeland. He has our number in the past. Go ahead.
They got to get to him. I mean, that's the one question. And I looked up the both games he threw this year, and they're blueprints. I mean, blueprints when you're looking 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, gave up a home run in each game, walked 2, struck out 5, walked 2, struck out 3, got a win, got a loss. So something that's got to give here, and they got to jump on Kyle Freeland. I mean, he's got a 5.2 earned run average, 3 and 15. His last 3 starts against Houston, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Pittsburgh, 5 innings, 5 earned runs. And then the Dodgers, he only went 4 innings, but he gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs. So these are numbers where he's given up a lot of runs, and the Giants just have to slowly mount an attack on him. He's definitely not going to be a Trevor Rogers, as we saw Saturday. But again, they have to somehow beat this guy, as the Giants are 15 and 24 against left-hand starters.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Bill, do we see this team can make a run during the playoff?
I think so. I think this week. I really believe this week is a week where if they can continue to keep playing well, you got 6 on the road. And if they can cut that lead down from 5 games to 4 to 3, depending on, now you got Detroit playing the Mets, which is a good battle. Detroit lost today. And then you have Cincinnati playing Toronto, and those are the 2 teams ahead of you. Now, Cincinnati came back in the bottom of the 9th and won today. Detroit lost against the Mets. I was watching that game. Juan Soto had a triple with first and second and put him to lead, and then Detroit couldn't come back. But you're looking at 2 top teams with Toronto and Detroit playing teams that you need to climb on. And that's why these next 2 games are important. If the Giants can win these next 2 and hopefully cut this lead down, jump over the Reds, and then you only have the Mets to grab. I still think if you can get through these next 6 games, winning 5 out of 6, 6 out of 6, and you come home and you have Arizona and the Dodgers for the next 13 games, that's where the wall is going to be able to hit you. The wall is going to get you, or you're going to be able to climb over it. And I think those 13 games are the most important for the rest of the season.
You're absolutely right, Bill. Hey, Bill, I appreciate talking to you, and let's keep the win streak going tomorrow.
Keep that momentum going, big boy. Let's keep those wins coming, and tomorrow, one game at a time, 27 outs, get Logan Webb another win and push forward. But, John, thanks for the call on Labor Day. It's always a pleasure talking to you. All right, coming up next, I'm going to sit down with Steve Croner, my good buddy from Associated Press. We're going to talk more Giants baseball here, and we'll have a nice conversation on what's going on with the Giants in the future, as well as what they've been doing on this last homestand, all coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader. Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Garrelts, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
All right, back on the Extra Inning postgame show on Labor Day. Giants win today 8-2 to get their record back to 69-69. First time they've done that since August 10th when they were 500. But now tomorrow they lean on their ace, Logan Webb, who's 12-9 with a 3.16 earned run average, against Kyle Freeland, 3-15 with a 5.28 earned run average. The one big number Kyle Freeland's given up, 20 home runs. That's right, 20 home runs. And the Giants right now, you can't beat this number. The Giants have scored 69 runs in their last 9 games. And you could go a little further, 29 home runs in 15 games. So we'll find out tomorrow, and let's hope Logan Webb continues this win streak. All right, coming up next, my good friend who writes for the Associated Press, of course, a big Cal guy. Let's bring in Steve Croner. Steve, how are you on Labor Day?
Bill, I'm doing quite well. How are you, sir?
Good. Glad to talk to you in the middle of the afternoon. Of course, you followed up with this Orioles series with one of your tweets that I want to bring up. And you said Alex Jackson was pitching, Jackson Holiday was playing second, and Jeremiah Jackson was playing third. And you said it was a Jackson 3. Well, you didn't know Reggie Jackson was in the stands. And even Deshaun Jackson from Cal was there. So you really missed the Jackson 5 in the whole ballpark.
That's my problem. Once again, Bill, I'm late to the party, but yeah, the Jackson
I thought that
3,
was very clever by you. That was a good, clever tweet yesterday. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
Well, listen, let's go back to the homestand. 5-1, they sweep the Cubs, and they get 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. And I was on my Saturday show, Extra Inning postgame show, and I really felt losing 11-1 if they had any kind of spark for Sunday. Because when you lose that bad in front of your home team or your home crowd, the home team needs to come back and fight. And they certainly did that yesterday with a 13-2 win. What'd you think of that whole homestand?
Yeah, obviously, 5-1. The only way to beat 5-1 is 6-0. And if you're going to predict a game that the Giants would lose, going against Trevor Rogers, who really quietly has been one of the best pitchers in the American League, and the Giants were running out of bullpen game. If there's one game in which you say, they're probably not going to win, if you're at the, games certainly take on lives of themselves. But going into that would be one you'd say it's going to be a tough one to win. So if that's the only one you lose out of a 6-game homestand, pretty darn good.
I agree with you. And, of course, I'm not getting too many phone calls now about people blasting Willie Adames and Rafael Devers as they both got hot in the month of August. Both of them individually hit 9 home runs each. And, of course, today they both hit nice home runs. This team is starting to get hot, especially from their home run side. 29 home runs in 15 games. Very impressive.
Yeah, I believe the 15-game streak is the second longest in San Francisco history. I think the Giants had 2 16-gamers in the early 60s. If you're getting to match the teams in the early 60s that happen to have guys like Mays, McCovey, and Cepeda, you must be doing something right with a long ball.
No question there. I want to go a little bit further in this game last night, yesterday afternoon, I should say. Justin Verlander, 42 years old, throwing 121 pitches, 81 for strikes. He did not have one easy inning, Steve. 26 in the first, 24 in the second and third, 20 in the fourth. And then he battled to get that 5 innings in at 27 pitches. But he showed a lot of things. He showed his gut. He showed the maturity he had by striking out 10 in different scenarios, throwing the changeup, the slow curveball, the slider. He had a 5-pitch mix going and 121 pitches. I'm thinking he's pretty sore today.
Yeah, you would know that better than I, Bill. But I'll point to two parts of that dynamic yesterday that I thought were impressive. One was the crowd at Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Giants, I believe, were up 7-0 in the 5th inning on an 80-degree day, and you would think that might be a time for the crowd to not necessarily be into the game. but the crowd knew what Verlander was trying to do to get through the fifth inning. When he got the strikeout to end the fifth, that was a large roar from the crowd that you could honestly forgive for saying, this game's kind of out of reach. It's hot. It's Sunday afternoon. We're not going to necessarily be that involved, but the crowd really was involved. And then I'm sure you probably discussed this yesterday, but give it up for Bob Melvin. There are a lot of managers these days. I don't care if the pitcher's Justin Verlander or Justin Timberlake. They're not going to let a pitcher throw 120 pitches in a game, much less 5 innings. But I think Bob Melvin knew what it meant to Justin Verlander. And I think Bob also trusts Verlander to be able to get himself back in shape for his next start. And he's going to have an extra day with the day off. But there were a lot of managers in Major League Baseball who would not have let Justin Verlander get to that surprisingly dramatic moment in the fifth inning.
So it goes back to Saturday, August 16th with my next question to you. He's winning 1-0 after 6 innings, and he gets pulled with 88 pitches. 7 innings, he goes 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and that was against the Tampa Bay Rays. Do you think that had anything influencing Bob Melvin to say, you know what, let me get him to 5 innings and get the win?
I have to ask Bob directly on that, but my gut reaction is no. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I put it this way: if the game were closer too, let's be honest too, if the game to the Giants were up 3-0 instead of 7-0, maybe he doesn't give Verlander that long of a leash, because as good as he was getting the 10 strikeouts, there was a lot of traffic on the bases in those 5 innings. And maybe, again, if the Giants don't have 7, if they've got 3, maybe Bob goes to the bullpen a batter or 2 earlier. But I think given the circumstances of the game and given the circumstances of Verlander's credentials, I think it was the right decision. And I don't necessarily think it had a lot to do with the game that Verlander pitched the shutout innings and then, unfortunately for him, not only didn't get a win, he didn't get a decision.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Postgame Show, my good friend Steve Croner. You can follow him on X at Steve Croner SF. Writes a lot of good things about Cal football now, and big game, boy. They won a nice game on the weekend. But let's talk a little bit about today. Kai-Wei Tang getting a start today. Of course, Carson Whisenhunt goes on the IL with a stiff lower back, and I thought he really worked the jams, getting in jams first and second, 1 out, punching out a couple guys. But that sweeper of his today from the third base line to the first base line on the sweep, you can go east to west, however you want to say it. That thing had some movement on it like a Frisbee.
Yeah, it was really impressive. And I think, Bill, the Giants had 3 more home runs. That's great. They had 11 hits. Their offense has certainly awakened from about 2-month slumber over the past week and a half. But I think if you're looking at what was the key number of this game for the Giants, I'd say it was 0. They had 3 pitchers, and none of them issued a walk. If you can do that at Coors Field, you got a pretty good chance of winning. And Kai-Wei Tang has had problems getting in the strike zone. So for the Giants have 3 pitchers today, cover 9 innings without a walk. That was, I think, really important in their win.
100%. I totally agree with you, especially there in Colorado. As you pointed out, any kind of free passes, they turn around and you can have big innings on crooked numbers. Dave Fleming said it even when Keaton Wynn got on, when he had first and second, nobody out, and then they had, I do believe, Bucco warming up, and he said, Bob Melvin's not going to last long here because he knows that a big inning could explode at any time. And you and I both just said that, and I think that's why he covered it. But then Keaton Wynn ended up getting a 6-4-3 double play to get out of that inning, and those 2 innings flushed it. And I really thought that was a good job by Keaton Wynn after what he did the other game when he had a big lead, gave up a couple runs. But I think Keaton Wynn plays a big part of this team for 2026, especially with that split finger, because he throws mid-90s. I would like to see a hard breaking ball from him. I haven't really seen one of those yet in his arsenal. Yeah,
Keaton Wynn, people forget I'm as guilty as anybody. For a while last season, Keaton Wynn was pretty darn good. He has had, I think, some health issues and some control issues. But I mean, again, kind of like going back to Hayden Birdsong, who's had obviously struggles lately, but Hayden Birdsong was really good for a while this season. Can the Giants get either of those guys back to the form they once displayed, which is one of those things where it's certainly plausible, but it's certainly no guarantee either. I think that will be a real key for them next season. They're going to need another arm or two in that rotation, whether they get it via trade, via free agency, or via, somebody from the organization getting right.
Sure.
Right. And those guys, they've certainly shown that they have the ability to do it, but can they do it consistently? That's still to be determined.
Well, I think heads are turning now in this trade by Tyler Rogers. Of course, they get Bucco, who's been the eighth inning guy, more of a setup guy. And Drew Gilbert, 24-year-old outfielder, really starting to shine. I mean, he had a nice 4-for-4 game today, a home run ball off his teammate from Tennessee, Chase Dolander. And just the exciting points about him. He's so fired up. He's still got that college image in him. And I think that's what we're seeing out of him, trying to be that rah-rah guy. And Matt Chapman kind of gave him a stiff arm in the dugout saying, calm down, Rook. But somehow that excites a team. That gets teams excited. That pumps you up from a young kid. But I really believe he is starting to see the ball better as a hitter. Going the opposite way is a thing I love about him. And he's getting some more playing time. What do you see out of Drew Gilbert so far?
Yeah, I mean, again, look in the next season, and this season is not over. Don't let me say because I'm talking about next season that this season's over.
Right.
Obviously, the Giants, the numbers don't look great for them. I kind of say right now they're neither in the race nor are they completely out of it. But look into next season, Drew Gilbert. I mean, you figure Jung-Hoo Lee's going to be the center fielder, and as long as they don't trade him, that Elliot Ramos is going to be the left fielder. Who's going to be your right fielder? Is it going to be Luis Matos? Is it going to be Drew Gilbert? Are they going to try to get somebody else from out of the organization? I heard you talking earlier. Could it be Bryce Eldridge? Bryce Eldridge did play the outfield in his first pro season, but I don't know that you'd want him playing, even if you do try to get him to become an outfielder. I don't know that you'd want him to play right field at Oracle Park in his first major league appearances. So getting back to Drew Gilbert, I mean, he looks like he's got, he's kind of the in-between guy. He's not necessarily completely a power guy, but he's got some power, and he's not completely a speed guy, but he's got some speed. He would be, to me, just, again, in a quick glimpse, to me, he would be a great fourth outfielder. And I don't mean that demeaningly. I mean, he's a guy who can play different positions. He can come off the bench or he can start. I think right now in a semi-perfect world for the Giants next year, if he's your fourth outfielder, I think that's good for the Giants, and it's probably good for Drew Gilbert.
I agree, and I think the combination of Luis Matos and Gilbert's a good combination if that's what you want to go into, in 2026. Luis Matos, how about his numbers in 10 games? 16 for 37, 3 home runs, 3 doubles, 8 RBIs, a couple stolen bases. Still an iffy outfielder in me yet. I still would like to do a little bit better in the outfield and catching the ball, making better throws. I like how Gilbert plays defense. He's a little more aggressive. He's got a better arm. But I think both of them are a good combination. Today's the first day Matos sat out. Tomorrow he'll be in against the lefty. What have you seen out of Matos that you've liked so far?
Well, the numbers you just said over the last 10 games or so. And to be honest, I've been very skeptical of Luis Matos. I know a lot of people have been, touting his potential and saying that he needed to get more at-bats and needed to play more. And I said, obviously he hasn't had consistent at-bats, but for the most part this season, when he has had at-bats, he hasn't delivered. This is but the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I think this is the argument against what I was saying, that he does have power, that he does, but he can be a very good offensive player. I think the jury is still out, but he's certainly adding to his credentials what he's done over the past, again, 10 days to 2 weeks.
23 years old, Steve. He's only 23.
He's certainly going to make a strong case to be a starter next season.
Yeah, 23, and I keep throwing it out there. You're thinking he's a little older than that because we've seen him in the last couple of years, And,
yep.
And I like what he's done. He's got his hands back a little more, going to right field a little bit more. You and I have talked about going the opposite way so many times with young hitters and older hitters. I want to see them do that more. And the way these shifts are going, the second baseman's pretty much playing up the middle half the time, and they're leaving that hole open. You can even just do a dribbler. Look what Dominic Smith did today with that little bloop down the left field line that scored 2 runs. All you got to do is put the ball in play, and things happen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the mistakes people made when the quote unquote shift was outlawed. People thought, oh well, now left-handed hitters are going to have so much more of the right side, and the rare right-handed hitters who got shifted, they'll have plenty of more space on the left side of the infield. It just meant that I think it did mean a little bit more that you have to have 2 feet in the infield. But you see shortstops on left-handed pull hitters playing just to the third base side of second, and the flip side is right-handed pull hitters. The second baseman is playing just to the first base side of second. So, yeah, a right-handed pull hitter, which Matos is right now, if he can correct that a bit and go to right field at times, there's a lot of space still over there, even with the shift rules.
I remember talking to Tyler Fitzgerald earlier in the year when he was playing second base regularly, and I asked him, why are you playing up the middle so much and leaving that hole open? He says, Bill, the analytics tell us that the ball goes up the middle or it goes on the left side of the infield. He said, guys just don't push the ball to the right side. And that's kind of where you and I talk about going the opposite way, the opposite way of hitting, keeping the ball back into the zone a little bit more and using your hands to push it the opposite way. They don't do that anymore. That's not the way they teach hitting anymore. Analytics tell them, swing hard, try to drive the ball. But you and I go back as we're old school guys. That's how Bill Matlock hit 313 years. That's how Rod Carew and Tony Gwynn did it because they went to left field so many times. I just wish they would go back to a little more style. Hey, we could ask Buster Posey that. He did it so many times.
Yeah, he was really good taking the ball to right field. And I think that's one of Elliot Ramos's strengths as a hitter, is that he is willing quite often to go to right field. And the other thing, too, is just because you're going to the opposite field doesn't mean you can't hit the ball hard that way. You look at Ramos hitting the ball hard to right field. You look at, now you look at the way Johnny Bench would go to right field. Someone more recently, Mike Piazza. You can hit the ball the opposite field and still hit it with authority. And, that's what you'd like from, guys who aren't the classic power hitter. If you're a classic power hitter, most of your power is
totally
going to be
different. Yeah,
to the pull
totally
side.
Different.
But most guys aren't classic power hitters, and if they can use all the field, it's going to benefit them, and it's going to benefit their team.
A few more minutes with my buddy Steve Croner. Of course, you can follow him on X at Steve Croner SF. Does a great job there and writes for Associated Press, covering the Giants here and there when they're at home. So now you look at this road trip. You got 3 in Colorado, 3 in St. Louis. One of the callers I had, St. Louis attendance, they only had 10,000 people there. What is going on with St. Louis? The organization really has not built that team. They've kind of just let it alone, and they're not playing good, consistent baseball. I look at this road trip, Steve, and I'm sure you've heard me several times this weekend, saying this road trip could make or break the Giants. If they could win 5 out of 6 or win 6 out of 6, they have more life coming home to face Arizona, L.A., They're playing 13 games out of their last 24 against the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, and they both have been playing very good baseball. But I really think this road trip's going to shine. If they can shine and get through it with a nice win streak, that's going to give them a mental approach and motivation going into this homestand against Arizona and LA. Two tough teams, we know it. The numbers are against them with only 24 games left. But I really feel this road trip could change the attitude of this team.
Well, I think the attitude's changed over the last week already, Bill. I think that the attitude is good. I mean, the numbers still aren't great. I mean, I'm one who usually hesitates to say, when a team gets into September, well, it's got to go this and this to have a chance, because you don't know what it's going to take. You don't know what the teams ahead of you or behind you are going to do. But I will go against my own thinking and saying the Giants have 24 games left in the season. They're 69-69. I think they've got to have a legitimate chance to get to the third wild card. They've got to go 16-8. They basically have to win 2 out of 3 games. That gets them to 85 wins, and 85 wins to me at least puts you on the cusp of getting the third wild card. Now, can you win 2 out of 3 every 3 that you play? You probably can't. So you try to take advantage of a couple where you win 3 out of 3. And are you going to win 3 out of 3 in Denver? A lot of times you can't, but I think in this series you've got one already. You got to, I think, getting 2 more in Denver gets you on the road to that. And look, going 16
you got Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. That's what the good thing, Steve. Logan Webb tomorrow, Robbie Ray, depending on how his finger is. I'm sure it's fine, or he would be missing a start. I don't know if it was a cut or a blister or whatever, but it definitely affected him. He never threw a breaking ball. It was mostly all fastballs. If you can snatch 2 here and go into St. Louis with a day off, there's going to be, some exciting times for the weekend. But they have to continue this. Why we didn't see this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I wish we'd know. But right now, everything's gelling, and it's definitely getting exciting times in the orange and black.
Yeah, that's one of the mysteries of baseball. I mean, how the Giants could look pretty darn good for 2.5 months and look really bad for the next 2.5 months, and now for the last week and a half, look like the team that a lot of people expected them to be once Rafael Devers was added to the roster. I mean, I certainly thought that was the one thing that team was missing, was a big bat in the middle of the lineup. And once they got him, you figure, well, here we go. They're not necessarily going to beat the Dodgers and the Padres, but they're going to stay with them. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen for 2 months. And for whatever reason now it is happening, and you try to ride the wave as long as you can.
Steve, last question for you. When you're looking at the National League, who do you think is the strongest team? Is it Milwaukee? Is it the Dodgers? Could it be Philadelphia? Who do you think is, if you had to look at the strongest team where you said, man, this team's got pitching, good defense, good hitting, which team in your eyes would it be?
Well, that's a great question, Bill. It's really hard because, I mean, at one point I would have said the Phillies, but if you don't have Zach Wheeler, maybe
that's a big blow.
That's a big blow. And the Mets have been, at times you'd say the Mets they've been so inconsistent. You'd say the Dodgers, but they're not necessarily hitting on all cylinders either. I guess you'd still go with until the champ is beaten, you go with the champ. So right now I go with the Dodgers, but I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in it. I think you could make a case for the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, or the Padres. I'm not sold right now on the Brewers, and I'm not sold on the Cubs. I think right now the 4 teams mentioned, the 2 in the East and the 2 in the West, you could persuade me on any of those 4.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to find out here in the month of September. Who's going to be hot, who's going to fall back, and that's the fun part of September baseball, because teams get hot, teams get cold, and the next thing you know, some of them are bounced out and some of them are get in. So we'll find out. But right now, the Giants are sitting 69-69, Steve, and let's just ride this road trip out and find out what they can do. But again, my friend, thank you for joining me on Labor Day. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Steve.
Bill, right back at you. Look forward to the next time.
That was Steve Croner on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up next as I get down and sit down and talk to Dave Gresner, 30 years with the San Francisco Giants in that training room. A great conversation coming up next right here on the Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. I'm honored to bring my guest on. He's the Senior Director, Athletic Training. He's 29 years with the San Francisco Giants overall in Major League Baseball. Let's bring in Dave Gresner. Dave, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And I have to say, 26th year at Oracle Park. You've been there from the first day. But let's go back to Candlestick days. What is the change in the training room from Candlestick days to Oracle Park?
Wow, that's a big difference. I was only there for a month or so at the end of '99. I finished AAA and came up for a little bit in September. But that was a football stadium first, and the training room and the weight room they had there was a little smaller than what we got now. We're just super fortunate to have a great baseball stadium at Oracle with a great clubhouse, weight room, training room, great facilities, and then obviously the best ballpark for the fans in the league. Pretty fortunate for me to be there this long to watch Giants baseball.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Let's go to a couple things that I really think are cool on your resume. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game was in 2007. Of course, the ballpark was called AT&T Park. Tony La Russa against Jim Leyland were the managers. The American League ended up winning that 5-4. How was that for you to step into seeing all these all-stars coming through the training room, working with them a little bit, but also the glamour of being an all-star trainer?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience for me. Just, Barry was there representing our team. Just to have those great players in there. You mentioned the managers. And then, the opportunity for me to be in the dugout with them during the game, be in the clubhouse, work on some of those guys in the training room prior to the game and after the game. What an incredible experience. The ballpark showed so well, the fans, the city, just hanging out with these players for a couple days, watching the home run derby the day before. It's pretty exciting stuff. That was my first year as the head trainer of the Giants as well. So pretty incredible season for me to be able to do the All-Star game to kind of cap that off was, just a lifetime experience for me. What a great pleasure that was. And, just a nice thing for me to have done to represent the Giants there.
Dave, one of the cool things that happened in your whole career with the San Francisco Giants were to meet the Hall of Famers, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda, Juan Marichal. I mean, the list goes on with some of the greatest players that wore the orange and black. Your relationships with some of these guys, I know I saw you at the Willie Mays Celebration of Life, a special man, and I know you got to know him.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have done such a great job bringing back our Hall of Famers and just all kinds of former players. My first experience with both the Willies, Willie McCovey, Willie Mays, was down in Arizona at spring training. Scottsdale Stadium. These guys would come and sit in the clubhouse. They would come in the training room, get a little treatment on their shoulders here and there. Some of those, old wounds they had before from playing. And that's how I got to know them, just helping those guys. All of them, Gaylord, Juan Marichal, everybody. It's kind of growing up watching some of these guys is unbelievable. Got to sit next to them and talk to them and work on them a little bit, get to know them. But what an absolute pleasure. It's just been great that the Giants have done that in the past and continue to do it now with other players.
Dave Gresner joining me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Of course, he's the Senior Director of Athletic Training for the San Francisco Giants. Another trip that you went on to was Team Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. Hensley Mullins was the manager. You got to go to Japan, South Korea. It was a cool experience. I just loved seeing you with them. Tell me a little bit about that whole experience because you were traveling a lot.
Yeah, that was another great experience in my career. Bam Bam, Hensley Mullins was the manager, and he asked if I could help him out. Netherlands isn't a baseball country just yet, and they wanted some experience there on the medical side. And I said, absolutely. It was a good opportunity to travel the world a little bit, but they have great players. coming out of Curacao as well. And so I took it as a great opportunity to go see the world and see baseball in a different country. And yeah, we went to South Korea the first time and then on to Tokyo in Japan. And they had a great team. We went to the semifinals in LA. It was a great experience to see baseball in these other countries, how much the fans love it. And, fortunate to meet some other cool players from other teams that were on Team Netherlands and work with other coaches. And, Andrew Jones was our bench coach for Bam Bam, and just get to meet a lot of great people, see some good baseball. And, the World Baseball Classic has turned into such a great event. Um, I think it's showing the world what baseball is all about, and playing for your country. And that was just a great opportunity that I got with Bam Bam with Team Netherlands. It's something I'll never forget.
Well, Dave, let's look at the foundation where you came from, University of South Carolina. You also taught in a high school. You always wanted to work with players. You always wanted to work in sports. Let's just ask you, did you play sports? Were you involved in baseball growing up?
Yeah, I played all kinds of sports, soccer, basketball, used to race bikes, played a little bit of baseball as well. But I was just a sports junkie. And I wanted to be an athlete when I grew up. That's kind of what I wanted to do. I think as I got through high school and into college, realized that probably wasn't going to happen on the playing field as a player. But and then I had several injuries through the years, so athletic training just sparked my interest. And then at South Carolina, I got to study that and then work with the teams there, the baseball team in particular, and had a fun time doing that. Worked some football, soccer, just a bunch of different sports that just helped me in my career to start my career. But baseball was really the part of South Carolina I loved, and got an opportunity with the Giants after I graduated. So I was pretty fortunate there.
It sure did. 1996 was your first year with the Bellingham Giants rookie ball. You ended up going to San Jose for a couple of years, and then you ended up going to the Fresno Grizzlies in AAA in 1999. What people don't understand is you get to know players as you go up in each division. You get to see these players move forward with their careers, as well as, finding out injuries and understanding injuries through the winter and how you progress with them. When you went through the minor leagues, how difficult was that to just go back every day, each day, the trials and tribulations of bus rides and hotels and motels? But it was something you wanted. It was something you gravitated to.
Yeah, it wasn't difficult. I was a lot younger at that time. Body felt great, mind felt great, but I loved what I was doing. So to get up and go to the field was super easy. It was fun. I mean, it still is fun, but the players are, I was kind of grinding away with the players trying to get to the major leagues myself. And so it was pretty fun learning a lot of things in the minor leagues. Myself specifically, learning how to take care of players, pitchers, position players. That's where it kind of cut my teeth on my profession as well. So, running through Bellingham, Washington, and San Jose for a couple of years, and was fortunate enough we won the Cal League in '98 with the San Jose Giants, and we had some good players on that team that made it to the big leagues as well. And you learn a lot in the minor leagues. You definitely learn if you want to do this sport, this profession. And I was really super fortunate with the Giants to land in some good spots, be at the right place at the right time, and move up the ladder. And went on to AAA in Fresno, and then up here in San Francisco. But those are great experiences. It's a tiring season, especially in the minor leagues traveling, but you learn so much, and it's just something you have to do to get yourself ready for the Major League Baseball.
That voice you hear in the Extra Inning Postgame Show, my good friend Dave Gresner. Of course, he's the head of athletic training for the San Francisco Giants. Fans just don't understand your day, Dave. It never stops, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it just doesn't go through the season. It goes in the off season. You do have a little lull, but again, once spring training hits, It's every day. And the people that you work around, those are the people that generate a lot of interest in how you prepare and how you make these trainers work around you. Tell us a little bit about what your daily routine is.
Yeah, I mean, we're working a lot and obviously connected to all the players, even when we're not at the stadium, and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and being healthy, whether it's the off season or spring training or during the season. But our day starts pretty early, between 11 and 12 for a night game. Just getting over to the stadium, setting up the training room and the weight rooms, and making sure everything's set for the players. And then players start trickling in between noon and one, and we're working on them, making sure they're feeling good, making sure they're doing their exercises or treatments or, you know, whatever they need to do, prepare for their practice, and then of course for the game. The great part about our day is the game. Obviously, we're fans of it, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And the one thing too, Bill, is I'm super lucky because we have an outstanding staff that works with me. I mean, we've had some people that have been here for a long time. Anthony Reyes, who's our head trainer, Yon Watanabe, who's first year in the big leagues, but been with the Giants for a long time through the minor leagues, and our two PTs, Tony Reale and Frank Perez. We have some excellent people. Hiro Sato's our massage therapist. I mean, I couldn't do what I need to do without those guys. Those guys, put in so much work and care for the players, and you know, just go above and beyond for all these guys, to really help us get guys on the field day in and day out.
Dave, translators. You talk about Jung-Hoo Lee, Kaiwei Tang, and of course, some of the Latin players that don't speak English that fluently. How do you communicate with them? Do you bring translators right into the training room, or is it pretty much easy to compare, injuries and to talk about them and to kind of associate each thing with each player?
Yeah, I mean, and that's always a bit of a challenge. We're lucky on our staff. We have several folks that speak Spanish, and we have a lot of Latin American players. But also our organization does a good job in teaching these guys English and putting them through English classes when they're in the minor leagues. And so, most of the guys speak decent English enough to express how they're feeling, and then me and my staff, we're working on our Spanish as well. And then the other guys like Jung Hoo and Kai Wei, they have their translators there who we have great relationships with, and they come in and help us when needed. But we spend so much time with all these guys. We kind of know how they're feeling, know their bodies, and you know don't always need that translation because we just put so much time in with these guys. But when we need them, the guys that come in to translate do a great job, and we communicate with them prior to the game, after the game, just to make sure the guys don't need anything, or if they do need something, we're ready to help them.
A couple more minutes with Dave Gresner on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Communication with doctors are very important. Of course, Dr. Robert Murray's been with the Giants for many years, along with a couple other ones. Trainers as well as yourself, you go so far, and then the doctor has to jump into it. When does that take place? Is it right after the injury? Does it take place communicating with the doctors once the injury is done and the player's kind of scuffling a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we have great doctors. Dr. Ken Akazuki's our orthopedist. Dr. Anthony Sangombeni is our head team physician. They've been with us for over 20 years each. And we have a bunch more as well. I talk to those guys as much or more than the players on a daily basis because they're always helping us. They have ideas on how to help our players feel better. Or, if we need something, I'll call them and they'll be right on it. But they're at pretty much every game. And they rotate around, but they're involved from the get go. I mean, obviously me and my staff are hands-on daily with the players, but the doctors come before the game. We're always getting them involved, updating them on how guys are feeling or what they might need, and if we need to see them before the game or after the game. And then of course when we're traveling, If they don't come with us, we're on the phone with them saying, hey, this happened to this player, got hit by a pitch, and we need an x-ray, whatever we need. And, um, the relationships with your doctors is so critical. And we're super fortunate to have some of the best in all of Major League Baseball. They care. They communicate well with me and my staff, and they just do a really nice job for us.
Dave, you're a member of the National Athletic Trainers Association. A lot of young people want to join. A lot of young people in colleges want to learn how to be a trainer. You do a lot of speaking in the wintertime, and you talk a lot about youth, young people, learning the trade. How important is that to you?
I think it's more important as my career goes on. You kind of have some time to reflect a little bit on your career. We're talking about minor leagues that we worked, you know, as I came up through the Giants, and you want to see other minor league trainers that we have in our system come through and make it to the big leagues. And so giving back a little bit is really important to me. Um, you know, whether I talk at a seminar or, I think last month I spoke to a student that's interested and wanting to know how to get in and what's the best pathway, but just sharing some of my knowledge and my experiences with younger people to see if they want to do this. This is a great profession. But you also give up a lot with the time commitments that you have to the team. And I personally feel like it's worth it, and I have a great family that supports me too, and that's a huge thing. And so I try to share that with as many young people that are asking me questions and interested in athletic training and specifically in Major League Baseball.
Well, Dave, I've known you for many years. Your training staff, I believe, is number one in baseball, and you are the head of it. And I just want to thank you for your time today and to reflect on some of the things you did because, my friend, you are just excellent.
Well, I appreciate that, Bill. And I know we've talked a lot over the years about baseball injuries and the Giants. And so I just appreciate this opportunity today. Good talking to you. And yeah, appreciate you having me on.
That was Dave Gresner on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, back on KNBR and the Extra Inning post-game show as we wind down on a Labor Day show as the San Francisco Giants continue their winning as they won in Colorado earlier today, 8-2, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Giants. 2 runs, 13 hits, and no errors for the Colorado Rockies. 3 home run balls hit by the San Francisco Giants. Rafael Devers hit his 29th. Drew Gilbert hit his 2nd. And Willie Adames has 26. So all 3 were big home runs today for the San Francisco Giants as they even their record up to 69 and 69. Tomorrow, 5:40 first pitch. Logan Webb on the hill, 12-9 with a 3.16 earned run average, going against Kyle Freeland, a left-hander. He's 3-15 with a 5.28 earned run average. I want to thank my guests today, Steve Croner and Dave Gresner. If you missed either one of those interviews, they'll be on the All KNBR podcast. I want to thank you, Giants fans, for listening in and tuning in and giving me a call. I'll be on tomorrow on the Sports Phone post-game show. Jeff Young will be joining me from Foghorn Press. And I also want to thank my producer today, Cole Lepelt. Did a great job, and it's always a pleasure working with him. For Bill Laskey, be safe, be well. Have a great rest of the Labor Day and enjoy the sunny weather out here in Northern California. More coming up right here on KNBR.